yeah, maybe just to help Xiao Hong understand how well versed you are in GCP, you can also just let him know whether you're an expert or you're just starting out. Yeah. So for today, joining us is actually Xiao Hong, who serves as a customer engineer with Google Cloud's SEA public sector team. So he will run through with you on how to use GCP for your solution. So throughout the session, if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box and Xiao Hong will get to them along the way. Yeah. So I'll just pass the time on to Xiao Hong.
Thanks, Shamin. Hi everyone. My name is Xiao Hong. So I think a few weeks ago I covered the GCP session on different use cases, and then we talk about the Met Gamma as well as Colab. So today the session is actually focusing not so much on the slides. I want to talk about the GCP console. So I'll quickly run through the model garden, some of the basics for Google AI, generative AI, and then talk about Colab. And before I'll show you the GCP console. I hope some of you have attended my session a few weeks ago, and there was a QR code that you can actually scan so that you can actually do your lab, right? I think most of you should have access to a Google Cloud project by now. I remember seeing a message from the partner saying that they've created the projects for a different team. So you should have also received the instruction from them on how to access a Google Cloud console. But if you don't, then one way is to actually access to the hands-on lab and get access to it. Yeah, so this slides over here, you can use your phone to scan the QR or you can type it in. Essentially, yeah, it will give you a link to the Cloud Skill Boost. Make sure you're not signed into the Cloud Skill Boost when you are clicking on it. If you are, you log out before that, click on this link and then you log in. Once you log in, you'll be given the 9 credits. And when you start to, well, if you do one lab, the basic lab, you finish it, you get another 50 credits. So that's like 50 to 60 credits. So that should be enough for you to do many other labs. All the labs are hands-on labs. So let me show you one of them, how it looks like. Um, so for those who wanted to know the GCP basic you have not used before, how the console looks like, you can start with this lab, right? So to get to this lab, you just have to, so after you log in with the QR code, make sure that on the right, you will be given the credits. If you click on your profile, then you can click on explore, and you can explore, let's say, Google Cloud Console, for example. That will give you the list of labs that's related to Google Cloud Console. So I choose the first one, then you end up here. And basically, when you start the lab, what will happen is that you will create a Google project, and then you also create a student account. And it will do all this in the background by using a Terraform scripts. So that takes about 1 to 2 minutes. But after it starts, then the 40 minutes time that you see over here will start ticking. And that's where you will follow the lab guide step by steps to do the lab, right? The steps guide are quite straightforward. If you go to task 1, for example, it will tell you, okay, click on the Google Cloud console, click on navigation menu, and then click on the create, and then do this and do that, right? Sometimes they will also have scripts to check your access. So over here, there's one, right? Let me show you how it works. Since Okay, let me just go back and check if there's any questions. If there's any question, you can post it in the Q&A, then I'll be able to answer. And if not, I'll just go on and show you how to do the lab. So for example, this case here, I can just start the lab. All right, so you can see that the project is already created as well as a student, right? For your case, when you start the lab, it may actually ask you to start with 1 credit or 2 credits for some of the more advanced lab. So you just use launch with the credit, and that will deduct the credits from your total credits. Yeah. I think this lab is free, so it didn't ask me for that. So after you have this, if you read through the instruction before the task one, it will actually ask you to use the student's account to log in, because you are provisioned with a Google Cloud project as well as a student account. So instead of messing around with my corporate account that I have over here, which is yongsh at google.com, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here, and then I say incognito window. All right. So that will open the incognito window. Sometimes you can log in by itself to the student's account. Sometimes you still need to toggle between using the password, copy over. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. It's actually okay. Agree to it. Yeah, there you go. So you have a Google Cloud console. There's provision. The project is provision for you. If you check the project ID, that is Quick Labs GCP 03F06. Quick Labs GCP F03 F06. All right. And the student's ID is student 04 AEB. Student 04 AEB. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then usually what I'll do is I will put this in one side of the screen. And then this one to another side. And then I'll start to do my lab. So that will help me to reference what I need to do for each of the steps. Um, and then I can do my project on the right. Right. So let me just move this to the middle. Let me make this smaller. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so for task one, for example, it asks you, okay, click on the navigation menu, uh, go to the cloud storage, go to the buckets, click on it, and then the second step is to create, um, put in the name, let's say test, continue. Oops, okay, that's young engineers are not innovative. Okay, how everything else is as per normal until you hit the access part. So over here, there's one that says public access will be prevented. So when you create a Google Cloud storage, it can be open buckets or public bucket, or it can be a private buckets. Yeah. So that is when you, for this case, we want to have a private bucket. So you want to make sure that public access is prevented. All right. Then continue. Um, then create, confirm. Yeah. Okay. Then done. So you have done the task one, and what you want to do is to click on the scripts to check. Yeah. Okay. So the script actually check that you have created the buckets, and then you can actually go on to the task two, and the scores over here will be reflected to be 30 over 100. Right. So that's how you do the labs. You follow one by one until you finish all of them. You're given 40 minutes, so make sure that when you start the lab, uh, you know, uh, you're not interrupted. Yeah, so leave yourself, plan a good time where you can sit down for 1 or 2 hours, depending on the lab length, to finish the lab. That's where you get to learn. Uh, and in this lab environment that you are seeing on the right here is actually a real GCP environment. You can actually play around with it, but they do put some guardrails around it. Like if you're trying to start a VM with GPU that costs a fair bit of money, uh, you will probably stop the project or stop the session. So then you won't be able to continue. So you can click around and see the different details to learn about it. For example, you can go into the after you create the buckets, you can click into the buckets, uh, see the permission, for example, a configuration and things like that. Those are fine. Yeah. Just don't do things like very different from the lab objective. That will cause the monitoring scripts will trigger, and then it will stop the lab. Right? Okay, I think we sort of like cover the labs in basic and as well as the quick labs. Let me see if there's any questions. I'm going to end this lab. I'm not going to finish it. Okay, we don't have questions, and I will continue to talk about the slides. I'll give you some basics on the GCP. Okay, I've covered this in the last session, but for the benefits of those who didn't attend, let me just go through this again. Um, so essentially, there are a few ways you can access Google Cloud AI from the platform. Um, and the most basic one is actually the infrastructure layer, which uh, we're not going to cover today. Uh, Basically, using the virtual machine and virtual machine with GPU, you'll be able to train your own model. Right. What we are more interested in is actually the Vertex AI platform, which is the one that which is actually a platform as a service. So in the Vertex AI, there is access for you to call the API to do training, for example. So there's a Vertex AI training. So Vertex AI is a machine learning ops end-to-end platform. It covers the data ingestion part because before you can train any machine learning model, you need to have the data. Uh, if you do cleaning of data and things like that, all this can happen within the Vertex AI. And then at the same time, you can use the data to train it for different model and see which model works better for you, right? So that's the machine learning training, and then the evaluation. And finally, when you chosen one that gives you the best accuracy, you want to deploy it. So there's a Vertex AI prediction that allows you to deploy your model into the endpoint. All right. So all these are covered under the model builder. Um, there's also the model garden that you can find access to third-party model like Llama, Mistral, Sea Lion is also included, right? So these models are open source, as in you can access them. You can also, so you don't have to build your own, and you can basically take the model and then you can start to deploy that onto the Vertex AI platform. So I will show you this in the GCP console later on the model garden. Um, then Agent Builder is actually more of the high level no code tools where you want to build chatbot and a search engine, but you are not developers. Yeah, so I think most of you are developers, so you shouldn't be using that. But if let's say you want to speed up the time to market, you want to build a chatbot that is based on a particular domain knowledge, right? You can use an agent builder that will give you a GUI. It will ask you, what are the PDF files that you want to use to build the knowledge repository or the website, for example, your company website. Um, you can then build a RAG database and basically we will ingest a PDF file or we will crawl your website to build a RAG database. And then the chatbot will then be able to answer the question from there. So in a way, it's a way for you to customize the large language model. RAG is RAG is actually one of the. For those who is interested, I think you should know what is RAG. So I won't cover the basic here. Yeah. Okay. Let me. Okay. So GCP platform is quite a large platform. We other than the AI, um, there's infrastructure, there's big data, there's database that you can use. Gemini itself is also abuse them as in so sometimes you'll find that Google use Gemini to refer to the large language model, but sometimes it's actually more of the branding. Yeah. So for example, we use there's a Gemini for workspace where we actually use a Gemini to help the end user to summarize a document, so that when you use a Google Doc, for example, you can actually summarize the notes that you have put inside the Google Doc. Uh, you can use a Gemini also in Gmail, right? And basically different productivity tools. There's also a Gemini CLI that we just launched for Google Cloud. That's very interesting. It's actually meant for the agent development. So you can look into that. Then there's also a Gemini Code Assist. Um, so if you do a code assist, basically what it does is that it helps you to um, explain codes as well as the generate codes. All right, and it actually supports the local IDE that you have. So if you use VS Code or use IntelliJ, then that will be integrated into your the codes, and it can actually help you to do code faster. Yeah. So okay, since we are talking about this, let me just show you my VS Code. So for example, I have a VS Code installed over here, right? Let's say I have a Python file. Okay. Mm, so you realize I have a few extra things I have installed, the extension. So over here, I actually have a Gemini extension that I actually installed. All right. So I can use Gemini to help me to ask about the coding. For example, what is model view control design pattern? All right. Okay. While it's thinking, can't display it. Okay. Yeah. So MVC is actually one of the design patterns. And sometimes it will also show the full codes where you can just copy and paste, right? But you don't want to toggle between the chatbot and the ID interface. It's kind of inconvenient. So there's another one is called the cloud code that I install somewhere around here. Uh, oh, where's my cloud code? Somehow it's removed. Hmm, here. Oh, somehow my cloud code got uninstalled. There's a code access one, I think. Um, okay, it's already installed. Okay. Yeah, so over on the bottom left, you can see that right now the cloud code is not connected to any project. Yeah, so I'm going to connect to my project, which have the Gemini Code Assist installed. That will be this one. So once I do that, then it will be activated and I can start to do coding. So for example, where's my Python code? It's gone. Me- Okay, so I can say so, yeah, so you can see that I can ask him to generate a code. Yeah, here you go. All right, so that is the quick sort, um, recursive quick sort, where you select a pivot point and then you sort the one on the left, sort the one on the right by calling it recursively. Yeah, yeah, and good thing about large language model is that you don't have to be perfect. Like over here, I have a spelling mistake, so it doesn't matter. But more importantly, you can also ask him to explain the code, like what does this mean, all right? Explain this, and then you can see the explanation on the left, right? So I'm using the IDE environment, the VS Studio, and that integrates well. We have I remember the license for Gemini Code Assist is free for the individual. So if you are IDE developer, definitely use that. Even if you don't use it to generate code, you use it to explain codes. It's very useful for you to uh, when you take over somebody's code, which is quite common in the software industry. Okay, I think I've covered the code assist. Let me just see. Okay, let me go back and see whether there's any questions. Okay, yeah, so far there's no questions. I will just go on. If you have any question, just speak your mind. This Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and cover things that I see that is useful for you. Um, okay, the right one is okay. So we spoke about the RAG database. How you can actually use the agent builder to help you to automate the creation of the RAG. And essentially, what happened in the background is that when you pass in a PDF file or you pass in a website, uh, we will crawl the website and ingest a PDF file, and then we will basically chunk it into a different parts, convert it into a vector arrays using what we call the embeddings API, and then we'll do the indexing and the ranking within the vector database. Um, so this part is actually automated for you. And in fact, all this from collection to the run, or the entire process is actually done for you. So you don't have to do it on your own. But if you do it on your own, then that will be the similar process, right? Okay. Now you can the process of using the RAG database is what we call the grounding with your data, right? That is the one in the middle, the second one. Now, you can also ground with Google Search. Now, as most of you know, when you use Gemini, it will be based on the um, the data that is actually trained half a year ago. Typically, there's a 6 months lapse, right? So, for example, the Gemini 2.5 that we are seeing is probably February. The training date is until February. Yeah. So when you ask things about what is the alphabet stock price, for example, it won't be able to tell you. But turning this grounding with Google search on, basically we can connect to the Google search engine and provide you the latest information. Right. So there's other options like grounding with 3P data and things like that. I won't cover this, but this will show you how it looks like on my console. Um, so by now you should be familiar with the Google Cloud Console. This is the screen. So if you go to Vertex AI Studio, not going to search. Okay, so there's two ways you can do that, right? Either you click the burger menu and you scroll through, and then you go to the prompt, or you can just type Vertex AI Studio. Yeah, this is the one, and click on it. Okay. Yeah. So this is a Vertex AI Studio. Basically, this is the one that you will test all your prompt. Um, compared to the Gemini.google.com, the difference is that this is actually the Google Cloud version, and it allows you to choose the model. So in this case, I'm using the 2.5 flashlight. I can use Pro if I want it to be much more accurate. Uh, I can choose which uh, location I want it to be. Right. So the default is global. I think there's a Singapore version. Oh, sorry. We launched a Singapore version, but the Singapore version is only available for Flash, and I think you need to subscribe to the provision throughput. So not so straightforward. Mm, okay. Anyway, no problem. We can use Flash, but I'll just choose another location where I want it to be. So I can use IO one. Right. Yeah. So I can choose the IO one, and then I can use Flash. But I think let's switch back to the Pro. Still more comfortable with the Pro. Uh, you can set the temperature, like how creative you want the large language model to be when it comes to the response, and other parameters, right? So for the enterprise version, you have much more control, and typically what you see on the right are parameters that you can also set in the API. So when you call the Gemini API, you can also set um, the um, the parameters to actually block off hate speech, dangerous content, and then things like the location where you want it to be. All this can be controlled, right? So earlier I was explaining about the Google search. So if I ask a large language model, the 2.5 Pro, what is the stock price? Google stock price. I forgot. The Pro model will be slower because it's actually a more accurate model, but it also can do reasoning. Yeah, so that is where it will try to. Oh wow! Actually, oh, that's unexpected. Yeah, so normally it will tell you that it can't access the stock price, and then it will ask you to go to the Google search. But I think, yeah, correct. This is not a stock price. I'm quite sure. I just saw it yesterday. It's 212. All right, 212. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see that the stock price is shown here is actually not correct. It's probably if you check the price, it's probably February and March, something like that. Yeah, they mentioned it's actually not live. So for the same questions, you can turn on the grounding on the Google search. When you do that, you run this again, then it will be different. Okay, here you go. 212. All right. So that's how you use the grounding with Google search. Basically, for information, for time sensitive information, it will not rely on just a large language model pre-trained data. You will actually reach out to the Google search and then get you the answer. Right. That's how it works. Okay, let me see if there's any question. No question. Okay, I'll carry on. Okay, let's carry on with our slides.
Xiao Hong, I think on
Yes,
on the
chat.
chat there's a question. If I cannot finish the session within 40 minutes, what
Right.
can we do? Yeah.
Uh, the credits I give to you is enough for you to restart the session. But yeah, don't restart a few times. So And I think the 40 minutes one, the basic lab, I don't think they charge you for that, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, let me just end this step. Yeah, there's no cost. This is a basic lab. Yeah, so basic lab there's actually no cost, but try to allocate your time so that you can finish it in one go lah. If you can't finish it, you can redo again, not a problem. Especially the no cost one, it doesn't cost you anything. But sometimes it will say 1 credits, for example. So that would be the one that you want to save your credits lah. So for example, if I choose a intermediate one, oh, I don't have an intermediate one here. They are all okay. Let me choose one that's more difficult. Gemini API, for example. Okay, Gemini API. This one. This is something I want to do. Safeguarding with protection. Yeah. So this is going to cost you 1 credit. Right. So when you start the lab, you will notice something different. Yeah, you actually ask you to launch with 1 credit. So if you launch with 1 credit, then 1 credit will be deducted from your total credits lah. So if you click on the link that I gave you earlier, you are given 50. Uh, I I don't think there's a cap to that to the credits are given. If I'm not wrong, it should be around 1 year lah. So if you save it, you'll be able to do quite a number of laps with the credits that you have. All right. So that's the answer to the lab. How many credits are available? The one that the QR code that I asked you to scan, that will give you the 50. Okay, that credits is a quick labs credit or the Google Cloud Skill Boost credit, the training credits. Charmaine just answer the 10,000 credit. That is for the use of the Google Cloud services. That's a different one. So so what happened is that SCE has created a project for you. They link it to a billing account. They pump in the credits into the billing account as well. So when you use the Google Cloud services like virtual machine, Gemini, and all this, it will be billed to you. Let's say the bill is $300, for example, for this month. Then the $300 will be minus off from that 10,000 that's given to you. Shamin, do you want to explain this 10,000 credits?
Explain in as
The
in like
10,000 is in total, right? Not for
yes.
one project, right?
As in the 10,500 credits is for each team
Oh,
for the
for each team.
particular. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying. So, what happened is that your project, your team project, will be given the $10,000, and that should be enough for you to do quite a fair bit of thing. Uh, the one that is most expensive in Google Cloud will probably be the GPU. So, and which I will show you later in the model garden. What I mean by that, right? Um, yeah, so I will answer your question later when I'll show you the GPU and you see how much it costs to run a GPU. It can be very expensive. Okay, okay, I think we covered this. Okay, I'm going to skip some of these slides. Okay, I spoke about the Gamma model the last time. So basically, the Gamma is actually an open source version of the Gemini. Um, the Gamma is available on the Model Garden, which I will show you shortly. Image gen, all this, I'm not going to talk about that. This is the one that costs money. Yeah. So if you're using a GCP, The 10,000 credits that is given to you should be able to last you for quite some times. In fact, for the Gemini API, it doesn't cost a lot. The one that is more expensive will be the GPU. So we have um, L4 GPU, which is used more for inferencing. So they are much cheaper compared to the A100 or H100 GPU from the NVIDIA. Both of them are from NVIDIA. Um, then there's also some more expensive GPU like H200 and as well as uh, B200, which is yet to be launched in Singapore. Uh, Google Cloud also offer TPU. So TensorFlow Processing Unit. The difference between this and the GPU is that GPU was designed for to speed up the graphics processing. Yeah, actually, it was meant for a game. But because the machine learning operation has a lot of floating point operations, the GPU actually speed up uh, the computation. Um, TPU was actually designed for machine learning. Yeah, so it wasn't designed for graphics. Yeah, so if you use a TPU, you can actually use it to improve the machine learning training as well as the inferencing. Google Cloud, we use TPU to drive down our price of the Gemini API. So if you notice when you call the Gemini API, you don't see a virtual machine in the background running it. That's because it's already provided as a service, right? Um, and that is when I also want to talk about a bit about the cost. Um, so the um, when um, when you're using the Google Cloud Console, when you sometimes when you create things like VM and stuff like that, they will actually tells you how much it costs, but sometimes it doesn't. So when they don't, you can always use a public pricing calculator to see how much it will cost you, right? So for example, over here you can say, I want to know. So for infrastructures, you'll be clicking on the compute engine, and then you can actually go to uh, the GPU. So to use a GPU, there's two ways. One is to use N1 or N2, and then you attach a GPU. Let me see, I can't attach a GPU. For M4, you have to use a N2, but I don't see N. No, I have to use a N1 actually. Here you go. So one way you want to use a GPU is to go to the general purpose, choose N1, and then you can actually attach a GPU. Right. So these are the lower end GPU like T4, P100, and so on and so forth. Right. That's one way. The other way is to use the accelerator optimized family. So instead of general purpose, you choose the accelerator optimized. Then that will give you the L4 GPU, but you choosing the G2. This is L4 GPU. So usually you will use L4 for inferencing, or you will use the A2 or A100 or the H100. Right? So okay, it doesn't tell you the GPU model, but you can choose a family. It'll tell you the number. All right. So as you can see, if I choose the A2 series, let me just show you the specs. Google Cloud A2. Yeah, so A2 is actually using the old A100 GPU, right? The specs are here. So basically, if you're choosing the A2, then it will be something like 20K per month. It's very expensive. Yeah. So, but this for 8 GPU. So if you choose one, then there's 2.6K, right? The later version like 800, they will cost you more, 8K for example, and B200 supposed to be launched. Yeah, price. But this is for 8 GPU. So for the B200, we don't have the 1 GPU version. There's only the 8 GPU version. So that's why the price is a bit crazy. All right. Yeah. So we'll come back to the pricing calculator later, just to show you how you can actually work out. Oh, sorry. I need to tell you how to work out the Gemini cost. Now, when you make a call to the Gemini, the API, okay, uh, choose the language model. Okay, depending on, let's say we choose a multi-model network, multi-model request, because sometimes you may pass in an image, for example, and let's say you do 100 requests per day, and every request is about 2,000 characters, and output is, let's say, 500 characters, and on average you put in, say, 30 images for the 100 requests you put in. That's the cost, $2 versus the 2006. Right. So you can see there's a big difference. It's almost like renting a house and buying a house. Yeah. So when you use a Gemini API, we actually use a TPU to drive down the cost. Uh, so so that helps to manage the cost. All right. Let me just go back and see if there's any questions before I move on. Okay, don't have. Okay, move on. Okay. I think this one not interested. Data governance, MacGamma. Okay, I'm going to use a MacGamma as an example to show you how we do a deployment of the large language model. So MacGamma is a variance of Gamma that is trained based on medical knowledge. So it can actually be used to interpret image interpretation, medical image interpretation, uh, medical text comprehension, and it can also be fine tuned. All right. So how you start is you can actually use a model card. That so if I click on that, okay, if I so the model card will give you the information um, on the you can read about all this yourself. There's also a link to the Mac Gamma on the Google Cloud console. So if I copy this link and I go back to my uh, dash domain account where I have access to my Google Cloud console, um, yep, I will be presented with this screen. So this is actually part of the model garden. So I can either do that, or if I search for model garden, that will end up in this screen. And then I can search for Mac Gamma over here. Ah, both way will actually uh, get to the screen. So you can read about that, the informations and the use case and documentation. Um, Most of the third party model that is popular, you will see a model card like this. Uh, and the most importantly, for beginners, there's actually a deploy options, which is very important. Yeah, to me, that's one of the best thing for this model card, because it makes deployment so much easier. So over here, you actually have a choice to say, I want to deploy this model and I want to use the Vertex AI. All right. Then you are given a screen of different choices. So for example, MacGamma comes with the 4 billion and the 27 billion model. You can choose which option you want to do. It comes with instruction tune and the prompt one as well. So again, you can choose that. Then, more importantly, you can choose a region where you want to deploy it to. So, for example, let's say I want to deploy in Singapore. And then I have a few options that I can choose. So I can use a L4 GPU or I can use a H100 GPU, right? You are constrained when you choose a region. You're constrained by what is available. So if you choose the Iowa one, you would have more, I think. Not necessary. Okay. Yeah. So but sometimes you depending on the location, so sometimes you may not be available. Okay. So in this case, it's actually the same. So over here, I actually have two choices. I can choose to deploy on a L4 VM with L4 GPU, and the other one with H100 GPU. And so if I click and do the deploy, you'll be able to deploy on endpoint. We call it the Vertex endpoint. So I will deploy. Before I deploy, I want to show you. Okay, so if you want to know the cost, you would have to go back to the pricing calculator. This is the one. In this case, it doesn't tell you. Yeah, so this is the one that we work out, and that will help you to estimate the cost. Yeah. So the L4 GPU that I was telling you is actually so much cheaper. So if I choose a G2, that will be like $500, right? G2 standard 4, and over here I think this is standard 24. Okay, choose a standard 24. Yeah, about 1,004. So this will cost you 1,004 to run for a month. Okay, if I choose the L4 option. If I choose the H100, okay, let me just add this so you can do a comparison. Accelerator H100 G. Okay, H100. That will be A3 high GPU one. Okay. Yeah, so you can see a comparison, right? So this is a H100. This is a L4. Yeah, so if I choose to deploy on H100, it'll cost me 8,000. If it's L4, then that's 1,004. The good thing about this pricing calculator is that I can send this to you, and you can actually click on it in the chat, and then you can actually edit it. Yeah, so you can. So what I sent to you just now is a pricing calculator. If you click on the link, it will appear in the browser as a pricing calculator. You can modify from there. Once you modify, the URL will be different. You Again, you can share this with to your colleague, but they will be seeing the same thing. So you can play around the pricing calculator and use that to estimate how much it will cost for you to run your project, right? So it's a good way for you to gauge, right? So back to model deployment. So once let's say I choose L4, I want to save money, I do a deploy. So this will take a while, about maybe 20 minutes to half an hour. So we are not going to wait. But what I want to show you is other aspect of the model garden. So after it is deployed, it will actually comes up to be under the prediction endpoint. All right. Yeah. So you will show up over here. We are not going to wait. So let's go back to model garden. Open another tab. Yeah. So earlier I was telling you that in the model garden you can access all the third party, like for example, MacGamma, Llama, Llama 4 is here, or Mistral. Yeah, all these are here. In fact, even DeepSeek. Yeah, DeepSeek is also here. Correct. There's also a link for you to go to the Hugging Face. So if you scroll down, there's actually an open model on Hugging Face. If I click on that, you can see all the Hugging Face model. If you want to deploy Sea Lion, you can search for AI Singapore. This one is not spelling tolerance. Hmm. That's funny. This should be listed. Oh, what happened? Oh, no. I used to be able to search for AI in Singapore. Oh, this is weird. Hmm. For some reason, I can't find the AI Singapore Sea Lion model. It used to be able to be searchable. Don't know why. So, hmm. Let me see. There's a. Sorry, something is wrong. I'm not too sure why it's not searchable now. Did I go to the wrong click? Let me see. Not really. Interesting. I'm not too sure why now I can't find the AI Singapore model. I used to be able to type AI Singapore and see the model listed, 3.0 and 3.5, but not now. Yeah, I'll find out later. Let's go on with the other parts of the slides. Okay, I think we covered model gardens. Oh, the last one is collab. Okay, we have two. Okay. Um, okay, so if you are a Python programmer, you are probably familiar with Jupyter. So there is a Colab Enterprise in the Google Cloud that you can actually use. The difference between this Colab and the Colab Enterprise and the Colab Pro or the Colab that you is free for you to subscribe is that Colab Enterprise uses a Google Cloud resource. So when it's part of the Google Cloud services, the data belongs to you, and also you have more control, right? So for example, you can say from the Colab administrator side, you can say that who are the users that can actually access the Colab Enterprise, right? Um, the other things that we built into Colab Enterprise is actually a data science agent, which is quite cool in using in actually generating the steps to analyze the table. So let me see whether I can demonstrate that. Okay, so again, I just type Colab Enterprise. Okay, so this is my Colab Enterprise. Let me see whether this one still works. Okay, so this is actually a generated code. Let me see whether I still have that. Okay. Uh, Okay. Let me show you this one. Okay, Colab Enterprise. Oops. Um, Colab Enterprise is a Jupyter notebook, and typically you would write a Python code to analyze a table. And if you know how to use a Gemini code assist, you can actually use the code generation to do that as well. But recently, Google Cloud also have a new. We also came up with the agent space, and also the ADK. All right, and one of the interesting ADK is what we call the data science agent. And what data science agent does is, do I have it here? I don't have the slides on that. Let me just talk through it. Yeah. What data science agent do is that it can actually answer your questions. For example, over here I have a table. This table is a table of it's a table that I downloaded from Kaggle. If you can go to Kaggle and you search for, I can't remember I think the instruction is here. Don't have it here, sorry. Okay. So you search for exercise habits and cancel on Kaggle. Yeah. So on Kaggle is a platform for data analytics and machine learning. It's an open source platform, so people has contribute quite a fair bit to this platform. Is quite popular. So over here we actually have a table that captures um, the bio of the patients, for example, the age, the sex, and then it also captures the lifestyle, whether he exercise and whether there's a smoking history. And we want to be able to find out if all these are linked to the different disease, for example, the skin cancer, diabetes, and arthritis. All right. So you will see a table like this. All right. So this is a CSV file. All right. And typically for you to write a Python code is not so simple because you'll be dealing with a lot of details. Like, for example, when they say exercise, oh yes, it's actually within the past 2 years. Or do you mean 3 times per week or 5 times per week? That's a lot of difference, right? Yeah. So um, when you use a data science agent, you'll be able to figure out all this, and by exploring the data, and then you also generate the codes to actually answer your questions. All right. So back to the Colab Enterprise, it actually have the data science agent built in. So if I click on Gemini, and then I would try to upload the files, and let's say the CVD file that I was mentioning to you, let us upload that. This one, the CVD file, the CSV file, open. Okay, it will take a while to run because okay. So the Colab Enterprise would, when you first run the runtime, it tells you that this will run for 18 hours, and then if you don't use it, after that you will shut down, right? Then after you attach your file, you can type in your questions, and the data science agent will be able to figure out how to arrive at the answer with what you have in the file. So that's kind of cool. Take a while to upload. Okay, so um, so I can answer question if I'm a smoker and slightly obese, BMI bigger than 25. What are my chances? What are my chances of getting diseases? Okay. Still uploading. Okay, let me just go back to the questions and see whether there's any questions. Okay, no questions. Give me 5 more minutes. I will wrap up the session. I'll just want to show you this demo of the Colab Enterprise as well as the data science agent. So taking longer. Don't know why. Let me try without the file. It should be uploaded already. Yes, I see the CVD CSV in the background. Okay, so Gemini come back and say, okay, that's a great question. I will approach this by, so he'll come up with the execution plan. He say, okay, I'll find a suitable data set, blah, 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 load, prepare, and then he will analyze the data and you visualize, all right? So if we are good with this, you can accept and go. Here you go. See, so something is working in the background. Okay, okay, set and run. Let me just we go. Okay, so you can see that it's actually okay. I don't know why this current version keep on asking me to accept and run. The older version just run everything. But you can see that what happens in the background is that the it 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 act as if you are developers. Before you can actually work on the code, you need to analyze the data, right? You need to find out what does the content of the column means. Like what I mentioned to you. What do you mean by smoking history? Do you mean uh, you have smoked, you have been smoking, but then you stopped smoking recently, or does it mean other things? So all these is things that you actually analyze. You can see the Python code using the Panda frame to actually do that. Sometimes you'll hit the error, the code that's generated, and then you actually comes back to regenerate the codes. But essentially, I don't have to know any Python coding. I don't have to be an advanced programmer for me to start this. Basically, just throw in a Excel file or CSV file, ask him a question, then the AI can actually reverse and think how to actually achieve this. Okay. So it knows how to use a Seaborn library to do the plotting of the chart. Mm. That's the insurance. Sorry. Okay, I think it's still running. It's okay. I think I can explain this. Let me see whether I can keep this aside. Ah, good. I can keep this aside. Let me close this speaker. Okay. Okay, so that's the code that is actually generated, and you can see that it actually goes through a process of what the developers will typically do. You will load the CSV file, and then you will print it. You will see the first 5 rows to see the kind of data that you have, and then you'll be able to smart enough to actually use the column header. Mm, Actually, this one does more than what you're supposed to do. You also plot out the insurance charges. I suspect, yeah, it didn't answer my question actually. I didn't ask about the cost. I asked about the chance of me getting. Hmm. But somehow it's interpreted as a cost. What are my chances of getting disease? Okay, they are related in a way. Uh, I guess if I have this disease, it will cause me damage in my wallet, but not really answering my question. Um, yeah, but yeah, here you go. What I'm trying to say is that the data science agent actually helps you to generate the code, and it will save you quite a fair bit of time. If you don't write all this, it probably takes you half a day for an expert Python programmer. So that's a good thing about using the data science agent. Okay, then with that, I can wrap up. There's a rack feature. Could you explain me how to use it and share any tips? Um, yes. The rack features can be accessed from the AI applications. So if you go to AI applications, um, I was the old name is called App Builder, or sometimes they're called Agent Builder, but they all mean the same thing. So basically, you can create an app. Um, when you create an app, you can choose to have a chatbot or a search app. So let's say we choose a chatbot. Say with test. And then you ask you to create a data stores. This is the part that I was telling you that. So if you choose cloud storage, for example, you would have to put your PDF file there, upload a PDF file there, right? So earlier we create a buckets. So you can do the same over here. If I go to storage buckets, for example, um, yeah, go to the storage buckets and then you can do drag and drop, for example, to upload the file this way. Oops. Or you can actually use a command line. Yeah, many other ways you can do that. Yeah. So then this is actually the upload, right? So that's one way you can do that. You put the PDF files there, and then you point to the buckets, right? The other way, you can upload. I think also the other way is actually you point to a data store, a website, and that will then actually crawl the website. So, for example, AI Singapore website is you can put asterisks, and then you can exclude, say, support. You know. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so that's another way you can. That's a website one. So once you put this in, then it will take a while for us to actually crawl the website. But for the website, actually you need more than that. You need to. We also need you to verify that you own the domain because we don't want you to anyhow crawl somebody's else website. It'll be a hassle. So you need to verify. To verify, you just need to put a record in the DNS. So I won't go through the process here, but essentially, uh, that will actually help create a, a, a data store, which will then create app. So I have a few apps here. The one that is still running will be the Singapore pool one. So I think this one I use a PDF file to do that. If I'm not wrong. You can test it. Ignore the one in the middle. This one is I play around with it. It's not related. Okay, so if I ask what is 4D, hmm. Oh, I think I've stopped the indexing. Shit. Okay. So if I ask what is a 4D row, you'll be able to answer me because I train it using, I can't remember whether it's a website or the PDF file. Uh, so you can use the generator to generate such a chat app, and then you can actually test it. You can also embed this onto a website. So, for example, I actually have a website here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, if you go to the Singapore pool website, this is the actual website, right? And this is actually my testing domain. And what I did is I actually captured the main website as an image. So this is a fake one. But what I want to show you is there's actually the generated app that I actually embedded. So it appears as a bubble. So if I click on the bubble, I can actually ask the same question. Something is wrong with the answer. What is 4D row but not 4D? There you go. All right. So I think this is trained using a PDF file. Yeah, correct. So you can see the link on the bottom left. It points to a PDF files, uh, which I didn't give access. But if I give access, then you'll be able to see. And it's actually quite easy to embed this. So if I look at the code, yeah, it's just a snippet over here. It's a bit difficult to see. Let me show you the source. I think it's easier. Um, yeah, this is a fact. So to embed so the application that's created is called a dialog flow. You can actually use a dialog flow messenger, which is actually a JavaScript interface, and you can embed this on the website, and that's how you get the bubble to display and link to the generated app. All right, so I think I answered your questions. Let me see anything else. Okay, I think I'm cover all the questions here. I did my presentation as well. Um, any question for me on the Google Cloud Lab? If there's no more, if there's no more questions, um, Shamin, if there's no more question, I will end the session here.
Yeah. Let me just recap something for everyone that's here. But I will need you to stop sharing your screen for
Sure.
yeah.
Stop sharing the screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so just a recap for oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Wait. Let me see whether I'm on the correct one. Sorry, am I sharing the correct screen?
I don't see your screen actually.
Okay, let me just try again. Yeah, should be able to see this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you have any questions after this workshop, you can just drop them into our Discord channel. So this is where we have the GCP help desk. So you can ask the GCP experts your question over there. Yeah, so I believe that if you have any other like longer or more specific questions about the challenge, you can send us an email at info@cdeveloperchallenge.ai. But if it's Sea Lion related questions, then you can send it to this email instead, caidevchallenge@aisingapore.sg. So these emails are both on the website, so no worries if you don't catch this right now. Yeah. So we also have more workshops and mentor office hours that have been organized for you throughout the whole round two. So if you would like to keep track on the different workshops that we have planned for you, you can join us on our shared calendar. So basically, for next week, the type of events that we have is the NVIDIA Technical Workshop, which is happening on Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. GMT +8. So for me, basically, it's Singapore time 4 p.m. Yeah. And then business mentor office hours are happening on Tuesday, 5 to 7 p.m. The technical mentor office hours are happening on Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. And we also have the GCP clinic that's happening on Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So it will be slightly less formal compared to today, where you can just drop in and ask your questions to the GCP experts. Yeah, just in case you can't catch them on Discord or anything of that sort. Yeah. Okay, so that's all from me also. If there are no more questions in the Q&A box or the chat box, I believe we will be able to end the session early. Yeah.